Oh, goody. Craig decided to join us. Hi guys, it's your Grumpy Dungeon Master Jay again, and still no Grumpy Dungeon Master Christopher. Craig, I don't know what Craig did with him. Last
I
time,
hid him in the basement.
yeah, last time I saw those two together, Craig and him went behind the woodshed, and only Craig came back, and it's been 3 weeks now. So, um, maybe he'll show up. Maybe he'll turn up as a skeleton or an undead zombie. I don't know. But for now, I've invited my friend Mike back to join us again. 3 weeks in a row, man. You're on a roll.
Good night, good evening. Hello, everybody. I'm back.
Welcome back. Welcome back. Christopher is still on vacation. He decided to extend it another weekend, but he should be back next weekend.
I'm not sure if he's really lucky or if he's really broke.
Yeah, it could just be he's like, I really don't want to do this anymore.
I mean, hey, I'm perfectly fine filling in his awfully large shoes.
Yeah, well, we'll do the best we can. As everybody who listens to this podcast knows, though, I am way more ADD and just sort of off the walls about what we talk about here. So listen in,
Maybe
and hopefully we enjoy it.
maybe we need to start getting like a lesson plan together throughout the week, or
Lesson plan.
some producer's notes. Yeah, we need to hire a producer and a
Yeah,
script with excellent writing. And I'm done.
yeah. Unlike me, lesson plan. Like, do you even know who you're talking to here?
I don't even
I
know who
don't.
I am sometimes.
Yeah, I don't organize this thing. I just go by the seat of my pants and see what happens. But we actually did look up a couple topics to talk about because we're not complete and utter unprofessionals.
Oh yeah, in between driving miles in the rain to go to an awesome estate sale, we actually did some real research.
I know, right? That was a good estate sale. Yeah. I enjoyed as cool as the estate sale we went to was today. The one I went to a couple days ago was still better because I got all these D&D minis. Like I
I
picked up those boxes of Ral Partha miniatures, which you don't see too often. But
I've got to get eyes on those things, man, before you sell them.
yeah, I've still got them. They're not going anywhere anytime soon. Ral Partha stuff is cool, but it's not like a super hot seller.
True. It's beautiful though.
Yeah, and by beautiful you mean horrible. It's these little shitty pewter miniatures. I, as much as I like crapping on Wotc about everything they do these days, at least they make decent minis.
That's true, but I mean, think about the time period those things were made, man. The manufacturing just wasn't up to snuff then.
Oh yeah, like every
Mm,
single one of those minis that I picked up at that estate sale were from the mid or early '80s. They all have flashing on them, and for people who've never actually been around old metal miniatures, flashing is the excess from the mold. So it actually you have to sort of file it off of them to make it look clean and smooth before you paint them.
yeah. Whereas nowadays, you just take a pair of snips to your plastic mini. These things were solid metal. You had to file down.
Yep. Well, let's start off talking about the news that literally everyone else has talked about this week, which is why we're not
Oh,
spending a lot of time on it.
you mean the news that Wotc is selling?
So, yeah, that they are selling their Dungeons and Dragons IP, and I know we are late to the game talking about this because, well, we record at the end of the week, and this news broke. God, I guess Monday or Tuesday or something like that. And I saw this come through that apparently Wizards of the Coast was considering or in talks with a company called Tencent to sell their IP to Dungeons and Dragons. And my initial thought was this is probably not true because I know how the media is about these things, and they just pick up stories, run with nonsense all the time without actually doing research. And I can't even necessarily fault the people who write the news because they are picking it up. The original article for this thing was apparently from Chinese media that they were going to sell it. And
Reliable source.
yeah, very reliable source over there. And then naturally our media starts running with it. From what I can
Yeah.
from what I can figure out, so a couple weeks back, I don't even think I talked about it on the podcast, but I did talk to Chris about it and a lot of other friends of ours. So Stephen Glicker from the Roll for Combat podcast came up with an
Mhm.
idea of what they can do to sort of save sinking Hasbro, because Hasbro's they're kind of up shit creek right now.
They're sinking like the Titanic.
Yeah, they need money. They need money badly. So one of the things they could do is what Marvel did back in the 90s when they were sinking, and that's sell off parts of their IP. And his idea was they sell off the book production of Dungeons and Dragons, and they sell off the video game rights to Tencent. And for those who are not familiar with Tencent, Tencent is a where Hasbro is worth like $6 billion or something like that. Tencent is worth $100 billion. They
And
Yeah, go ahead.
way I understand it, Larian Studios is also has a bit of a stake in Tencent too.
Other way around.
Other
Ten
way around. Okay.
Yeah. So Larian Studios, which made Baldur's Gate 3, which crushed everything this year, they are like they're owned by I don't know who all's got parts of them, but their CEO, he loves video games, he loves role playing games, etc. But Tencent owns 30% of Larian Studios, and that's what Tencent
Oh.
is. They are a giant company that owns IP, or at least has access to IPs of God knows how many video games. Like you name a video game, Street Fighter, Tekken, Final Fantasy, they might own a stake in it,
Huh.
and that's what they do. That is what that company does. So for them to own a portion of Larian Studios, which had made Baldur's Gate 3, makes perfect sense.
Okay. See, I thought Tencent was a developer of mobile video
Oh yeah,
games.
they do that too. Yeah, they
Okay.
absolutely do that as well. But they also
Well, I've got a quote from Hasbro here
oh
about
oh
that
is it a
news.
real quote?
It is a direct quote from Hasbro Wizards, whoever. You want me to
Yeah, read it.
about that? Sure. It says, from the horse's mouth, we regularly talk to Tencent and enjoy multiple partnerships with them across a number of our IPs. We don't make a habit of commenting on internet rumors, but to be clear, we are not looking to sell our D&D IP. We will keep talking to partners about how we bring the best digital experiences to our fans. We won't comment any further speculation or rumors or
Yeah.
about potential M&A or licensing deals. So, nothing muffin.
Hang on. Let's get through this whole thing because I have my own potential thoughts on this. I have my own
Okay.
thoughts. Whether there's any legitimacy to them, we'll have to wait and see. But so Stephen Glicker from the Roll for Combat podcast, he threw this idea out there, and
Yeah.
he works in the industry. He's a very smart guy who knows a lot about what's sort of going on behind the scenes. But in this case, he was spitballing. He had he's talked about it. It's just an idea. He's just throwing it out
Oh, yeah.
there to the world. There's no legitimacy behind it. There was nothing behind it. And apparently Chinese media, somebody over there heard his podcast, or it got aggregated or something like that, and they find out about it, and then they just start writing about it, which
You,
makes it spiral.
you think it could be? You think it could be something just as simple as a because it's Chinese media. You've got an English writing source. Do you think it just could have been lost in translation?
Oh, sure. Yeah, absolutely, it could have.
Mm.
You're dealing with it's firsthand information going to secondhand, going to third hand, it gets on the internet, and who the hell knows how it gets to where it's at? It's like it's the game of telephone, you know.
Yes.
For anybody who's too young to know what the game of telephone is or what a telephone is, just just Google it. Just Google it. Jeez.
We're we're from a time period when video games didn't exist.
Yeah, we're old. But that is apparently how this thing got to where it was. And then our media, the American media starts running with it, and Roll for Combat, I think they were the first place I heard about it. Stephen Glicker starts talking about it, and he's like, "Well, it seems like it might be true." And then other very prominent people in the industry talk about it, and now us less prominent people are talking about it a little late.
Better late than never.
Yeah. So my other thought on this that I wanted to get to is what if Wizards of the Coast is pulling the rug over people? What is it? Maybe it's a psyop. And this is me just shooting the shit. And
Okay, go for it.
yeah, and then maybe Chinese media is going to pick this up and then run with it. But what if it's just a psyop? What if Wizards of the Coast is really selling to Tencent? And
Ooh.
yeah, they're saying
Would
they're not because they don't want to talk about it publicly yet because no deals are made.
fair, then it's easier to just downplay it.
Yeah, it's
How do you think that would affect the hobby?
uh interesting. Interesting topic. If
Mm,
Tencent bought it, so Tencent is notorious for having like, oh, download this, buy this, purchase this, other thing for your thing. They're real good at monetizing their IPs.
yeah,
You yeah,
microtransactions.
microtransactions to hell. They're very good at that. But
Mm,
I don't think that that's what would happen. And this is once again completely fucking spitballing. If they bought D&D and got access to all of it, I think the
okay.
D&D virtual tabletop would absolutely be microtransaction to hell, which, let's be completely honest, that is what is going to happen anyway when that thing comes out.
Oh yeah, absolutely. It's set up for that.
Yeah, like they're building it for that already. So that's what's going to happen in that case. Uh, as for their video games, a la Baldur's Gate 3, I think it would almost guarantee Baldur's Gate 4, Baldur's Gate 5.
Mm,
It would almost guarantee every 3 to 4 years, Larian Studios would just be able to drop a new Baldur's Gate game. You would
mm.
probably have a lot of other D&D video games coming out because,
Would
yeah,
would you want a plethora of video games like
oh,
that? Another Baldur's Gate.
hell yes. Absolutely. Okay, so if it's Larian Studios, they made Divinity. They made Divinity 2,
Yes.
and then they made Baldur's Gate 3. And I have played every one of them, and every single one of them is top 10 video game RPGs I've ever played of all time.
Yeah,
Like
that's fair.
the Larian Studios makes fantastic role-playing video games. So if they were able to just keep doing that at their pace, not having some overlord, hounding them, this is your due date, this has to be ready by then. Yeah, I absolutely would want that. The other thing is though, with that IP, you could then start making other types of video games. Every so often you'll get like an action style D&D video game coming out. They did a Baldur's Gate one that came out a while back, and we played it on stream for a while, and it was pretty good. There was a couple of Baldur's Gate games that came out for like the PlayStation 1 and 2. I think it was just PlayStation 2,
Yeah.
and those were fun as hell.
Hmm. I don't remember any of those. I know they made a a computer version of at least one of the Adventure System games. I think it was Tomb of Annihilation.
Yes, yeah, they did. What was that Baldur's Gate one called? I'm trying to find it. Yeah, Baldur's Gate. Oh, that's the Baldur's Gate Enhanced Edition. That's the old one. Eh.
Hmm. Yeah.
Oh, wait, I know where it is. Sorry, I had to pull up my own Steam just to see. I had it on my wish list. I haven't bought it yet. Yeah,
Yet.
yet. I got like 100 games on that wish list. Yeah, Baldur's Gate Dark Alliance. That was the
Oh.
one that it was originally a PlayStation 2 game, but there was Dark Alliance 1 and 2, and they're just great hack and slash Diablo-esque, video games.
Huh.
But if Tencent had the IP, then there's no reason they can't come out with one of those every year. Like, it's
Yeah.
not hard to just keep, moving on in that style. You could have
Yeah.
a first person shooter style act, a la Overwatch or something like that with D&D characters. Oh
No.
hell yes. Oh yeah.
No.
You know, whether you
We have that. It's called Skyrim.
no, 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 not Skyrim. I'm talking a competitive version. Where I'm playing this wizard. I'm playing this
You
wizard
can't.
character. That guy's playing the sorcerer character. This dude's playing our
I
cleric.
see it now. The wizard casts fireball specifically to rocket jump across the
No, you
arena.
don't cast fireball. You cast levitate or jump. Like yeah,
Ah,
yeah, like you could absolutely make something like this. You have it set in arenas. This fight it's taking place in the arena in Neverwinter. We already know what that looks like. We've seen it in the movie.
yes. Great
I
movie.
mean, tell me that's not a
Uh,
winning idea. You could absolutely sell that game.
okay. Okay. All right. You changed my mind on that pretty
Yeah.
quick.
So having Tencent have control of the entire D&D IP, that could lead to stuff like that. Now, would it? I don't.
It could.
Yeah,
It could also lead to an influx of D&D cheap mobile watered down puzzle games like
that's
Bejeweled.
fine. I don't care as long as
Yeah.
they are still making some good stuff. I don't care if they make trashy little here, download this and spend a whole bunch of money making
Yeah.
some microtransactions. As long as it's not in everything. Um, as
Yeah.
for the actual physical D&D game, if they got access to it, who knows? I would assume they would continue just sort of because the books isn't where they make their money. Like you make
Yeah.
a few million a year off physical D&D products. I would assume they would just keep making that. Uh, Probably just hire it to people here in the states to keep doing what they're doing.
hmm
Maybe even keep the people who are currently working on it. And just have it keep going.
And just have them ghost writing for the D&D
Yeah, because they're
brand.
not losing money doing
Yeah.
that. It's just it's just another part of that giant machine to bring in extra cash.
Yeah.
I would hope that they would actually put people who really know the tabletop game in control, who understand that
Yeah.
4 books a year, of which 2 are modules, one is a compilation of modules, and one is an actual useful book. I think they would hopefully not keep doing that.
I mean, we saw it today while we were out killing time. And we went to a bookstore and they had a shelf that was nothing but D&D books, dozens and dozens and dozens of copies of books from the past year. Nobody's buying them.
Yep. Yep. Now, part of that you can still chalk up to the
Mm.
new edition coming out. Yeah, nobody's going to buy the
Oh, but it's
old books
backwards
at this point,
compatible, Jay.
but you can. Yeah, it probably is. I don't think they're changing the way the rule system works. It probably is, but people want to see the new hotness. Uh, but the numbers have been out for a long time. We've definitely talked about it on here, where the sales have just
Yeah,
consistently trended down year after year after year. Every book that gets released sells worse than the one that was
the
released right
problem.
before it. Yep. Yeah, it means they're not releasing a good product. Then we went around the corner from where those D&D books were at, and there was a ton of Pathfinder 1
And no Pathfinder
books.
2.
There weren't any. Nope. No Pathfinder 2 because they're all sold. Like
As
people
soon as
just
they
buy
get
them.
them, they gobble them up. I don't blame them. It's a good
Yep.
product. It's exciting. It's new.
Yeah, and yeah, because we went to Second and Charles, which is it's a fairly large chain owned by I think
Yeah.
it's Books a Million that owns it. But we go to our local one. We were at the one further away, and our local one, they've got a good number of Pathfinder stuff there, second edition, but there's still just less of it than the D&D stuff. The D&D stuff has just been sitting there for years. Like nobody buys it
Yeah.
anymore.
It's collecting dust.
Yep.
And that's a problem. And I don't
But
know if the direction that they're going with D&D 5.5 is enough to bail out all this water in the sinking ship?
We will have to wait and see. So, when 5.5 releases, the player's handbook, the monster manual, the
Mhm.
DM's guide, that's going to sell well.
Yeah,
I have no doubt about it. It's a new, fresh edition. Uh, it, it's going to sell initially well, especially the player's handbook. Like
yeah,
I don't give a shit about it. I'm still probably going to buy a copy
yeah,
just so I
yeah.
have a copy.
At least see
But
what's in it.
yeah, yeah, I want to see the changes. I've seen some of the changes online of what they have planned, and I'm not. Yeah, some of it I'm thrilled about, some of it I'm not.
Yeah,
But
I,
I'll still want the book.
I was just really strongly hoping that if this is a milestone year for the product, it's been on the market for 40 years. I was really hoping
Mm,
for
50, 50.
it's 50. I thought it was 40. It is
Yeah,
50.
no,
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
yeah, it's
yeah,
50-year anniversary. 50-year anniversary.
yeah. Okay, then I'm wrong. Yeah, still milestone 50 years. I was really hoping for something more transformative and impactful than just a slight evolution of the game system that we've already got.
Yeah, well, it's not even an evolution of the game system. The
Yeah.
system is not really changing. It's cleaning up some of the things in fifth edition that weren't, yeah, that didn't work perfectly. The monk class. People have always felt the monk really needed a rework, so they've done a pretty decent overhaul on it. They've made some other changes. We talked about them in the they were releasing the Unearthed Arcana for a while.
Hmm.
And after, we went through the first two or three of them on this podcast, and then me and Chris we stopped caring about it because they weren't really altering anything. It
Yeah.
was just moving a few things around, changing how a couple things work per class, but it wasn't like it wasn't overwhelming. It didn't scream, "We have to have this."
Yeah. It's it's just uninspired.
Yep. And I hate it because I know that the people who work there are putting their hearts and souls into this game, and you know, fifth edition has been great. It runs smoothly, but I, I'm hoping. I've heard that they are hiring a lot of employees that used to work at Paizo, which
Hope
makes
so.
Pathfinder.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I'm hoping that they actually start taking some hints from those people that you need customization of characters because that's what's killing that game.
Yeah. It's got
That's
nothing.
yeah. There's no customization. Every 10th level fighter, every 10th level battle master fighter is exactly the same. Oh,
Hmm.
you might play a different race and you have one little different ability, but otherwise you're exactly the same.
Yeah. Is it just too close to print to make those big changes, though?
Oh no, no! You don't change the player's handbook. Like player's handbook, it's in print or going to printers, so you're not going to make much in the way of alterations there.
Hmm.
Uh, but if they start taking ideas, then you can release a supplemental book next year. That's like here's a bunch of feats.
Okay.
Here's a bunch of other spells.
Okay.
Here's some alterations for characters. You could absolutely every single year you could just release a book of feats.
And they
You
should.
know, oh yeah, yeah. I just do a single book every year that has two or three new subclasses for every single class. It has 30 pages of feats. I don't know. I'm just spitballing. 20 or 30 pages just of feats. It's got 20 pages of spells. Make it a 150-page book. I'd buy the shit out of it every single time.
Absolutely. Heck, for that matter, I would sign up for a subscription service where they'd mail it to my house. I would
Sure.
be all about that. Send me a magazine in the mail every month or so, or every 6 months. Heck
You
yeah.
said magazine. You said
I
magazine.
there I go.
What
Yeah,
even is that? What's a magazine?
there I go aging myself again.
I know. Oh God, I wish there was like D&D magazine or even just role play magazines. It's funny too because Dungeon or like Dragon magazine. I look through my old issues occasionally, and it's funny because it was owned by. I, I'm pretty sure it was owned by TSR,
Hmm.
But if you go through there, man, they've got reviews on like things like Shadowrun and
Yeah, yeah.
all these things owned by other companies.
Yeah, it was like a video game magazine like EGM or something where they're going to review
Yes.
everybody's product because we love the hobby.
Yeah. Yeah.
Nobody
I
loves the
miss
hobby
I miss
anymore.
gaming magazines. White Dwarf might still be around. I don't know if you're familiar
I
with
don't
them.
know.
White Dwarf was a Warhammer magazine, but I think they might still make it like physical copies of it.
Yeah, 12-month subscription.
See,
Six,
if they could,
60, 60 pounds. So British,
yeah,
maybe?
it's a UK.
Okay.
Like Warhammer's made in the UK.
I did not know
Games
that.
Work, yeah, Games Workshop's a UK company.
Huh.
But if that company can do it, you're telling me Hasbro can't? Come on.
Yeah. And GW, for all of their size, they're a lot smaller than Hasbro.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Yet they're killing it. Their sales just keep growing every year.
Yeah. Speaking of Hasbro, I misspoke earlier. There is another anniversary this year that is a 40th anniversary, and that is the
Yes,
Dungeons and Dragons cartoon.
I know. Which is I didn't realize that it was that old, and that's really just making me feel old now.
You did it to me earlier. It's only fair that I do it to
Yeah,
you.
yeah.
But,
Uh, yeah. So the things they're releasing, I'll let you talk about
I
this thing, man.
mean, come on, man. I know for 40 years you have wanted a ticket to that theme park so you could get on that roller coaster and ride into there and meet Tiamat at level 1 and run the heck away and meet the dungeon master and all that crap. Well, hey, they're selling tickets now. You can get a solid metal limited edition.
Yeah, the Dungeons and Dragons cartoon 40th anniversary golden ticket made of
And
metal.
and you know how
It's
many
obviously it is
copies
not.
there
Yeah.
are?
Uh,
1983 copies.
yeah,
They
yeah. The
have
fact.
humor.
Yep. I actually kind of like that they are limiting the amount.
Oh
Uh,
yeah.
2,000 copies is still a lot, but it will actually maintain a little value because of that. This is the side of Wizards of the Coast that I'm not a fan of. This is the side of Wizards of the Coast that has made me stop playing Magic the Gathering almost
Yeah.
altogether because
Yeah.
it Magic the Gathering used to be for the gamers. It used to be for the people who played the game. And everything was taken into consideration about how does this affect the game.
Hmm.
And then uh, COVID or right around pre-COVID is when they decided to sort of shift it to the collectors. And
Hmm.
the collectors used to be hold on one second.
You okay, Jay?
Shit, did you not hear me?
No, 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 no. You've been muted this whole time.
Oh, God damn it.
I heard a horrible coughing and gagging noise, and then you came back on the air.
Ah, well, I'll have to cut that out.
And that'll be some
I
stuff to edit.
That's a quick edit. That's very easy.
Yeah.
No, I fucked up the mute. I tried to mute the cough,
Oh.
and apparently it did not mute.
You muted everything else. So three, two, one, record.
Yeah, it's fine. We can just pick up right here.
Okay.
Uh, but yeah, like so, it used to be that the collector side of Magic the Gathering was the people who collected the really old cards, the Black Lotus, the Dual Lands, things that were out of print and were never coming back into print. And
Yeah.
people absolutely still collect those because they are valuable and they should be.
Yeah.
But now Wizards of the Coast, around around COVID or maybe a little before that, decided to start releasing things for just collectors, and the one of 300 card that's just a foil version with different art of
Yeah.
of a same card that already exists that you can just buy at any point for $10. But
Yeah, and they've been doing this with D&D for a bit, and I'm guilty of buying some of it myself. I've got the demon statue that you can use as a dice tower,
yeah,
and the anniversary dice that they came out with a few years ago, the sapphire ones. I've got those, but
yeah. But
those in my mind are useful.
yeah, at least those don't affect the gameplay so much.
Yeah,
But this I don't know. Like Magic the Gathering, it really just took a massive shift in the direction where all that matters is the collector, and the gameplay is very much secondary. And that's a game that's
yeah,
old. It has a lot of rules to it, and it's not hard to print a card that just completely screws gameplay. Um,
yeah,
I played for a long time, and it was rare, very rare, where they would print a card that would then have to get banned in the competitive format. It was not often. And
almost immediately.
I want to say it was probably 2017, 2016 or so where they started printing stuff very sort of willy-nilly, and you'd have to ban cards immediately after them coming out, and it was happening constantly.
Yeah, there was a distinct lack of quality control.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. Their quality
Yeah,
control went out the fucking window.
get the product out the door and get it out as fast as you can.
Yep. Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then they started releasing. It used to be 4 sets a year, and then it went up to 4 sets a year plus 2 special sets plus another set that has nothing to do with the game.
Mhm.
But it became overwhelming, and yeah, like their sales I know had taken a little bit of a hit just because of that, because people were just getting overwhelmed. They
Yeah,
did
you can't keep up.
Yeah, they did pay attention to that, so I know they were making some changes, but I don't follow it close enough to really be privy to what changes they're making. So,
Mhm.
but yeah, so
But
this D&D cartoon 40th anniversary. What else are they releasing? A
well,
Go ahead.
yeah, they used the cartoon anniversary to shoehorn in a bunch of other metal trinkets that are all limited.
Ah,
There's an ingot that happens to look like the back of a single card from the Book of Many Things.
yep,
Um,
limited to 5,000 worldwide. Uh,
Whoop-de-doo.
it looks cool.
There's the Lady of Pain's face.
Is this a belt buckle? No, it's
It should be, but it's
Yeah.
not.
So
You could use it as a shoryuken.
there actually is a Lady of Pain belt buckle from
That's cool.
from the 90s. It's worth a bunch of damn money.
Yeah. The only thing of any interest at all in here, and I'm not going to buy it because it's stupid, are the solid metal sending stones.
I see those. What the hell?
Yeah, they're just
All
sending
right.
stones. You take
Yeah.
one home, I take one home, and we dial each other up on our sending stones.
Yeah. I mean,
Yeah,
that's a thing that you would display in an art collection. It looks kind of neat.
yeah.
I wonder what metal it's actually made of.
Oh, freaking cheap pot metal, probably.
Yeah. Yeah. Definitely. What I really want to know is the price on these.
I don't think they've announced. No, pre-order on Hasbro Pulse.
I see your response in the Facebook thread to that
Oh,
to them coming soon to an Ollie's near you.
it's probably true. Okay, so I've got the prices. Do you want to know what the prices are? I'll
Yeah,
tell you the
yeah, I
prices.
would love to know.
So that's gorgeous. There's a Demilich dice holder,
Okay.
but it's $200.
Oh,
So I'm not buying that. But
well,
yeah, I
I have
digress.
no doubt that Christopher has already pre-ordered that.
It's already in his basement.
Yeah,
Um, so the anniversary ticket about the cartoon
yeah.
that's limited to 1983 pieces is $39.99.
Uh,
The
all right.
the Book of Many
Pricey.
Things, yeah, a little bit. The Book of Many Things ingot is a little bit cheaper. It's $24.99.
Okay.
Yeah, the Sending Stones are also $24.99, and the Lady of Pain medallion is $39.99.
Okay.
Um,
So they're not blowing the prices out of the water, despite them being
no,
somewhat limited collectibles. So that's good at least.
Yeah. Let me see if there's got dimensions of one of these things. Oh
Yeah,
God.
that's the other thing is how big are they? Because you can't tell.
Uh, they're not. They don't have the dimensions listed, but they've got dice sitting in front of them. So the ticket itself looks like it's as long as about 6 or 7 normal sized D6s.
Okay, yeah. Like I'm seeing
About the size of a dollar.
yeah, roughly.
Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah, it's not something I would ever consider buying. I don't buy tchotchkes. Like that's what it is.
Yeah.
It's a shelf tchotchke.
It is, and they're all available for pre-order right now on HasbroPulse.com.
So yeah,
I felt bad saying that.
yeah, this if it didn't have that limited to less than 2,000 or less than 5,000 on these other ones, be coming to Ollie soon is
Yeah.
absolutely what would happen.
Oh yeah, yeah. And man, this is really sad. So Hasbro Pulse has a single page of D&D items and one board game.
And
That's
one
it.
board. That's weird. They have a
One
lot of
board
board
game.
games.
Two
Uh,
board games.
oh my
One of
god.
them happens to be Monopoly.
Oh yeah. Jesus Christ, man! This Facebook thread on this is just brutal. There's another dude farther down. These look like loot crate items.
But they do they not?
No, he's not wrong.
Yes.
They look like loot crate items.
They're just sad.
Yep. Yeah.
So yeah, definitely check out the comments section on Hasbro Pulse's Facebook page. You'll be entertained.
Yeah, it's not. I mean, there's only 20 comments right now, but man, some of them are fucking brutal.
Yeah.
They will probably sell all of this stuff just because of the limited amounts.
Yeah.
Because it is limited amounts, it's probably not going out to stores, so you will never actually know how many have sold.
I bet you it's a Hasbro Pulse exclusive.
Yeah, almost certainly. Almost certainly. So if they sell one and that's it, you're never going to know. They're never going to put that
Yeah.
info out there.
Yeah.
If it was at stores, you could at least walk in 6 months later and see, well, that shit's still sitting there.
If this stuff does end up showing at discount stores, though, that's gonna be embarrassing.
Oh no, that would be the true death knell of
Because they're going to produce these things to the numbers that they said they're producing them, whether they sell them or not.
yeah. I mean, they're already. I'm sure they're
Ah,
already made and sitting in storage.
yeah. Oh boy.
Yep. I can't imagine that happening though.
Well, yeah. Go ahead and get your ticket. They got them for sale right now.
Yeah, what we need to do is check back in a year and see if they have them, discounted 30%.
I'll absolutely do it.
I won't remember to do it. Definitely wouldn't remember. So let's talk about the thing you picked up at the bookstore though, because
No, it's
this
just
fascinates the hell out of me.
oh, it's not that fascinating. It's just a little board game.
Yeah, just a little board game. One that
It's
I have never seen and didn't even know existed.
oh, come on. You play board games all the time. This is just a tiny one.
I mean, by comparison
It,
to what we play now, it kind of is.
oh,
But
I don't know. It's actually pretty freaking huge. So yeah, we went to this used book slash game reseller, Second and Charles, earlier today while we were out looking at waiting for the estate sale stuff. And while we're there, Jay has to excuse himself to go take care of some other stuff. And me and my wife are just kind of wandering around the store. I'm there looking for old Atari crap, seeing if I can find some really cool video game consoles. And I noticed their display case kind of tucks around the corner. It's got a little hidden side off to the right, and I see this big box that looks like an oversized D&D box set from the 70s or 80s. That's what it looks like.
yeah,
So I get down there and I'm looking at it, and the thing says War of the Ring, based on J.R.R. Tolkien's The Lord of the Rings. And I'm like, what the hell is this thing? They've got it priced at $50. So I pull up eBay and I'm like, holy crap, this thing's like $200. So you're coming home with me.
yeah. Lord of the
And
Rings collectible.
it apparently is a board game that was created in 1977, 2 to 3 players. It's currently rated 6.7 on Board Game Geek. and it's got Ralph Bakshi artwork in it, hundreds and hundreds of little punched out tokens, and the smallest D6 that I think I've ever seen.
Yeah, I've seen what it
It's
looks like. It's tiny,
it's ridiculously tiny,
but
smaller than a quarter of an inch.
the really cool part though is the fold out maps
Oh yeah,
of Middle
you've got
Earth.
you've got
That's
a hex
it's a
grid
hex
map
grid.
with
Yeah,
full artwork of all of Middle Earth. Apparently, this game is supposed to be a simulation of the books.
yeah, of the War of the Ring.
Yeah, and I don't I have no way of knowing right now if it's complete or not, but holy crap, this thing is incredible.
Yeah, well, I just love the fact you have those maps. If we ever decided to run a Lord of the Rings role playing game,
Yeah.
having those maps that you can lay out as hex grids means
Oh,
that
yes.
which means you could actually do a hex crawl role playing game in
You absolutely
in Middle
could.
Earth, which is freaking
Provided
cool.
I don't provided I don't take the maps and have them framed and put on a wall.
Shit, you
They're
could,
that
yeah, 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 that's fair.
beautiful. I mean, they're really freaking beautiful.
Yeah,
Um, and like I said, I don't know if it's complete, but it's artwork is so stinking.
well, yeah,
SPI is the producer of the game.
yeah, which is a gaming company I had never even heard of.
Me either.
Like in the 60s and 70s, there were a lot of they're called bookcase board games, and
Hmm.
a lot of them were made by like Avalon Hill. If you actually look up the box for this thing, though, it's about the same size as what would be a one of those bookcase games. And the idea of
Okay.
it just it's you put it on a shelf like a book.
Okay.
It sits there, and that's how you would store these things.
I
And
like that.
so many of them, especially the Avalon Hill games, are exactly what you're seeing. They're sort of hex maps, or they're a large map that you play a war game on. And some of these things could take
Oh.
weeks to play. Um,
Oh.
yeah, I
So
remember.
what you're saying is that you want to spend a few weeks playing this game.
Well, I don't know if this one. I
Yeah.
don't know what the playtime on this one is. I would have to do a little research, obviously. But I remember
Yeah.
going. This was back in the '90s, and I went to this frat house of all places for a party, and it was a big ass house too, up in Athens, Georgia, and
That's
upstairs.
60 to 210 minutes.
Yeah, so a little bit of a variance there. It could be an
Uh,
hour, or it could just take till tomorrow. Um,
yeah.
but they had this giant table upstairs, like a Warhammer sized table, actually bigger than that. And they had this map laid out on it with all these board game pieces just laid all over the place along the map. And I asked about it, and that's what it was. Like it was one of these old games that they would occasionally come in and play for an hour, the same battle.
Oh,
They come in,
oh
just
wow.
play for a little bit, and then go off and do some other stuff, and come back and play for a little bit. They've been playing this one battle for who knows how many days.
Jeez. That's insane.
Yeah.
I love it. If anyone wants to know more about this specific game, there's actually a Wikipedia article about it. You'd have to search for War of the Ring parentheses SPI game. And it's a pretty lengthy article that Wikipedia has up for it. It's even won some awards, it said.
Wow.
In 1978, it won the Charles S. Roberts Award for Best Fantasy Board Game of 1977.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
So here's the problem with games, specifically Lord of the Rings, and this is
Hmm.
why I don't run Star Wars role playing games. This is why I don't run games that have such an incredibly in depth fan base. So
Hmm.
I'm reading the comments on some of these pictures that they've attached to the game, and the one photo that we had with the two towers that you could see,
Yeah.
that somebody had. I think they 3D printed these two towers, but so somebody wrote.
Could be chess pieces, even.
Sure. Well, one of them has definitely been adjusted to have the Eye of Sauron. But somebody in the
Nice.
comments wrote, I think you have one tower in the wrong place and added a spurious eye to it. Opinions seem to differ, but Tolkien's 1954 letter refers to the two towers as Cirith Ungol and Orthanc. The preview at the end of the Fellowship of the Ring book differs and states, and then he just starts quoting this thing. So he may have changed his mind, but I think your Mordor tower is too close to Barad-dûr for either of Tolkien's views. Like, dude, it's a fucking board game. Shut the hell up. Who
That's
cares?
the way Tolkien fans are, dude.
I know.
That's a Tolkien fan.
I know, and it's fucking obscene. Just stop.
So
Stop.
Tolkien wouldn't have approved of this board game for these various reasons that
Yeah.
I am now about to state to you.
Worst board game ever.
Well, yeah, that's exactly what's going on. I got a request for our listeners if they can do it. If anyone has heard of this board game and knows of a complete components list for it, freaking go to Facebook and let us know, because I want to know what all is in there, what needs to be in there.
Yeah. I am fairly certain that Board Game Geek will have that.
Okay.
Yeah, well, you'll have to do some research. You may have to go to the forums. If nothing else, you could definitely go to the forums and ask, and
good call.
somebody will be able to provide you with an entire list.
Good call.
Yep, just to make sure, because I doubt it'd be very unlikely yours would be absolutely complete. But if it's only missing a couple of little tokens or whatever, that's easy enough to work around. I definitely want to try to play this game at some point.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, 60 to 210 minutes. Woof. It actually only goes up to 3 players also.
Yeah, which is interesting, I think.
Yep. All right. So moving on to our last topic. Since Christopher isn't here to tell me no, I get to do my topics, and you know me.
I do what I want.
I do what I want. I love nothing better than stupid ass lists. It's literally my favorite thing in the world when doing this podcast, and I don't ever get to.
I like
Yeah,
lists.
I know. I don't
love
ever get to
lists.
do them with him. Like since you've been here for 3 weeks in a row, we've had 3 weeks in a row of lists. First, it was the
best podcast.
Yeah, I know. Well, all right, we're number 1. Fuck yeah. Followed by Joe Rogan.
Hell yeah. Take it,
That's
Joe
right.
Rogan. Suck it.
So we did the best role-playing games of 2023/2024. Then we did the worst role-playing games of all time. Now we're going to be talking about the 20 greatest sci-fi franchises of all time. And me and Mike are going to specifically be talking about whether they have a role-playing game or whether they should have a role-playing game. And for anyone who really wants to look this over and follow along with our stupidity, we went to screenrant.com, and it's just one of their stupid ass lists, the greatest science fiction franchises ever.
Hey, we can't do this. I just looked over it again.
Why?
Dune
What's
is
wrong
not
with it?
Dune is not on here.
Dune is not a franchise. Okay, so realize this article was written in 2016. So it's old.
Okay. So is Dune.
I won't. Yeah, I know. I won't say that Dune is not a franchise. That is incorrect. But it is not a. It's not a hugely. I won't say well known. It's just not the level of franchise. The stuff we're going to talk about.
Okay, it's not mainstream. How about that?
Yeah, it sort of borders mainstream. It's not quite there.
Okay, all right.
I mean, they definitely have toys. They've had video games, so it is a franchise.
Well, there's a Lego set you can get now.
Yeah, but in 2016, Dune was really just sort of an afterthought. Last thing that had come out was Dune 2001.
Yeah.
And like then you had the David Lynch movie, but the sci-fi TV shows.
Yeah.
It really was sort of an afterthought at that point.
Okay, that's a fair point. I take back what I said. We can talk about it now.
Yeah. So number 20, and this one, oddly enough, does not have an official role-playing game. But number 20 on their list is Predator.
Really?
And how the hell Predator doesn't have its own official role-playing game is beyond me. Because there is an Alien role-playing game. I've almost bought it. I've come real close to buying it. But Predator should
Yeah.
absolutely have one.
Predator seems like it would be a good candidate for it too. I mean,
Yeah,
there's a
and you
lot of
could maybe you could.
possibilities.
It's got. I mean, Predator. I don't know how many comics are out there. There's tons of Predator video games. They've done. I've lost count of how many movies. You
About a
know,
few.
yeah, about a few. They did. Prey, I think, came out
Yeah,
last year or the year before.
a couple years.
So there's. Yeah, so they're still making movies. Like this one absolutely should have
I
a
can't
role playing
believe that.
game.
I
Yep.
can't believe it doesn't
Uh,
have a role playing game. Is there a
yep.
Predator RPG system? There's an unofficial one on Drive
Yeah,
Through
I saw
RPG.
that.
Yeah, that's crazy.
So the next one in the list is The Matrix. Uh, so with The Matrix, you can barely call The Matrix a franchise. I mean, they made one movie and they made, I think they made some video games. So I guess technically
What?
it's a
What? What?
franchise.
Yeah, they made
What?
4
They
movies.
made one? No, they made one. They made one movie.
No, 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 no. They actually made 4. Yeah.
No, they only made one. They
No.
only made one. Just like the Highlander. Like
There
Highlander
can
should
only
really
be
be on this
one.
list too.
It should be.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, no, but Highlander only made one movie also.
I get it. I get it. It's just like
Yeah.
Star Wars. There's only 6 of them.
Right. Now you're catching on.
Oh, I caught on a long time ago. I'm just playing along.
Yeah. Yeah.
Huh.
No, like the Matrix films, the first one is absolutely amazing. And
Yeah.
I actually didn't hate the last one they did. It
I still
wasn't
haven't even seen
terrible.
it.
I watched it. It wasn't terrible, but the second and third are just fucking unwatchable,
Mm,
in my opinion.
they're not
That's
great.
yeah, no. But yeah, apparently this one also does not have its own role playing game. There's fan made versions of it.
I mean, you could take almost any cyberpunk game and make it be the Matrix.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
It wouldn't be hard. You could take the Genesis system and just play it and
Yeah.
say you're in the Matrix. Do the world building and
Yeah. The
let's
Matrix,
see.
it in my mind, was only notable for its contributions to filmmaking.
Yeah. The first story from I could be completely wrong on this because I haven't looked into it, but the original story of the first film was actually a stolen idea, and I think there was a lawsuit over it where they paid out. So the original author, and you can Google this just to verify if I'm
Mm.
right, but like the original author like the original Matrix is a very cool idea.
Oh yeah.
But the second and third, the other films weren't a stolen idea. They were Hollywood trying to capitalize on how well the Matrix did.
Yeah. Oh, you're right. There was a lawsuit about the story. Huh.
Yeah.
Had no idea.
Yep. So the next one is Mad Max. I am whereas I thought Predator should have a role playing game, I'm really surprised Mad Max does not have a role playing game.
Oh, Wizards
Uh,
tried with Descent into Avernus.
yeah, they yeah they did. Like the whole diesel punk, and I guess that's what people often refer to it as, but just sort of the post-apocalyptic, you know, gas guzzling machines trying to survive. Like
if
that's an incredible setting.
if we were British, it would be petrol punk.
Yeah, yeah, petrol punk. I like that better actually. I'm gonna start calling it that.
Petrol punk.
Yep. But yeah, I'm a huge fan of the Mad Max movies. The first Mad Max movie, meh.
The
I don't
Road
really go back
Warrior.
and No, no. The first one was Mad. I think it was Mad Max. Yeah, the
Oh,
first one was Mad Max, and it's not that great. But then they did the Road Warrior. Then they did Beyond Thunderdome. I don't remember the name of the last one that they did, but then Furiosa's coming out.
yeah. Oh, Fury Road.
Or yeah, Fury Road. But yeah, like I love just watching those films.
They're good sci-fi, man. They really are. I remember when
Yep.
Waterworld tried to use that aesthetic on
Oh,
water.
in water, yeah, and
Yes.
failed horribly. Made literally one of the biggest failures of all time.
It was not good.
Yep. Uh, So this next one on the list, they actually do seem to have a role playing game of this one, and it's Babylon 5. And
Just
I wish I had anything to add when talking about Babylon 5, but I've never watched Babylon 5. I know it's kind of a Star Trek ripoff.
same. I thought it was just Star Trek.
No, it definitely is not. And
Really?
I know right now Babylon 5 fans are fucking furious at us.
I
Like,
thought
it's
it
the
was.
greatest show of all time, but
Oh, sorry guys, I've never seen it. Hate me all you want.
yeah, never watched it. I did watch a lot of Star Trek. Never
What's,
seen Babylon 5.
what's Star Trek?
So, hmm?
Oh, I just learned something because this all these years I have lived my life thinking Babylon 5 was just a Star Trek spinoff.
Wait, really?
Yeah, seriously.
Huh.
Yeah, I admitted that
Yeah,
on the
no.
air too.
Yeah. Yeah, it most definitely is not. Uh,
Huh.
but because obviously Star Trek's much older.
Man,
And then they
my wife's gonna kill me too
what?
because she's kind of a Trekkie.
Yeah, I'm sure she's making fun of you right now.
Probably because she's probably sitting on the other side of the door giggling like a
Again, yeah.
yeah.
So next one would be Jurassic Park, which also doesn't have an RPG. I
Eh,
kid you, I guess you could make an RPG of this, but why? Just if you want to do
uh. You have to say the magic word.
yeah, like this, just run GURPS or run one of those other
No,
systems. Yeah,
or
and here
just
it's dinosaurs.
have a D&D adventure set in Chult.
Yeah. I mean,
Problem solved.
definitely, yeah, definitely never done that before.
Right?
Then we've got the Terminator. Uh,
Ah,
this one actually does have an RPG.
really? How can you make I mean, I guess you could just be resistance people trying to. I don't know.
Yeah, I play in any time zone, including the 1980s and future war. All the main characters from the movie, such as Sarah Connor, Kyle Reese, and the T-800, are included, as is content from the graphic novels and the all-new, never-seen-before Terminator variants and hardware. It's
Hmm.
made by, I guess, Nightfall Games, which I've seen their stuff before.
Hmm.
Yep, but apparently there is one. That is a weird one, though.
Yeah,
Like I as a DM, I'm just trying to figure out how would I run that.
I guess the big bad evil guy could be the corporation. Was it Cyberdyne?
Yeah, Cyberdyne. Yeah, well, if you run it in the
Or Skynet?
1980s,
Skynet.
well, Cyberdyne owns Skynet.
Yeah.
Skynet was the AI, the rogue AI.
Oh yeah. So you could just be people trying to stop the. I don't know. Great movie
Well,
though.
yeah. Well, no, you could absolutely do it. If you did, if obviously if you run at Future War, then it's a lot easier. You're just killing Terminators. If you ran it in the 1980s, you have to change your mode of play, your whole thought process. It's not going to be a hack and slash game. It's going
Hmm.
to be you know we have to avoid the Terminator, and
Survival.
yeah, it's a survival game at that point. You have to
Yeah.
not die to this thing and find a way to kill it.
Yeah. Because it doesn't die easily.
Nope. If you've watched the movies, it damn sure doesn't.
I mean, the
So,
first movie was straight up horror movie.
oh yeah, and it's still good. I went and
That
watched it
that
earlier this
last
year.
scene where the Terminator is just crawling towards her
Uh huh.
with one arm. It's just terrifying.
Yep. And then I actually watched Terminator 1 and 2 both within the last year. 2
Oh,
is still
nice.
really fucking good.
Yeah.
And I don't really watch them after that.
It's probably a
so,
good idea.
some of the other ones I thought were pretty decent, but the first two are just amazing.
Yeah.
Next up in the list, though, is this is my favorite choice, actually, and it's Godzilla.
Ah,
And
Godzilla.
how do you do a Godzilla role playing game?
You would have to do it kind of like Terminator, where you're trying to survive this force of nature coming through your city or your country, or you know it's coming, or
Yeah,
oh,
that is. that is one way to do it. You
Oh no, it's Gojira. Or you could play as kaiju.
that was my initial thought. Play as kaiju.
Oh,
You
dibs
have
on
to play
Mothra.
as kaiju. Dibs on Mothra. No, you would make your own kaiju. Because as we've seen from the movie that's coming out, the next Godzilla movie, whether it's going to be god awful, but the Godzilla Kong team up movie
Yeah.
where they have to fight a whole bunch of giant gorillas, it's going to be horrible. And I probably am still going to watch it. Let's be
Oh,
real,
you're going to watch it.
probably. But you could, because they have all these monsters that live in this inner world. Why couldn't you play a team of kaiju?
Yeah.
Yeah, just come up. You have to come up with stats for these things and go defeat this. I don't know, this rogue giant monster that's got a team behind him or something.
Seeing this picture of Godzilla reminded me, and this is a horrible segue. So you guys have talked about the Tarrasque before, and how
Ad nauseum.
ad
Yes.
nauseum. So the Tarrasque has spikes on its back, which means there's obviously something larger than a Tarrasque that preys on
Yeah.
the Tarrasque because spines are defensive mechanism. Just saw something else recently that made me take this even deeper. So a predator, an animal that's a hunter, it's got eyes on the front of its head, right? Look at the
Yes.
lion,
Yes.
the cat, the dog. They're all looking forward. Prey animals have eyes on the sides of their head.
Right.
Deer or an antelope. Where are the Tarrasque's eyes at? Hmm? They're on the side of its head.
Are they really?
Yep.
No.
Yep.
Hang
Look
on.
at the 5e artwork.
Well, I'm gonna look at the second edition artwork because
Uh,
that's where. Oh yeah. Let's see. Where is the? Let me see if I can pull up second edition art because all I'm getting is the 5. Yeah,
I
second.
haven't seen the second edition art, but the 5th edition art, yeah,
Yeah,
his eyes
second
are on the side of his head.
second edition. It just type in Tarask second
Yeah.
edition. It's the first piece.
Yeah.
It's definitely on the front of his head.
Yep. They screwed that up in 5th edition.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm gonna go
5e,
to
they
the.
made,
I'm
yep.
going. I'm going to the official source where this thing was first created, and that's yeah.
I mean, if you're sticking with modern printed stuff, though, yeah, he's a prey animal.
Yeah, he actually doesn't eat. He doesn't eat anything except like trees. He just noms on wood.
But
The
what
5e one. He's
but
actually
what
very
noms on
passive.
him? Yeah, what noms on him?
Yeah,
A-
I've
a-
always been curious about that.
maybe an aboleth?
Not likely. They're not that big.
Oh, okay.
All right, so
But
we have
sorry, go ahead. Godzilla.
No, you're fine. You're fine. Well, we're past Godzilla. We're moving on to Firefly.
Oh, you're gonna hate me, Jay.
I know. I already hate you because of it. Go ahead, say it.
I've never watched Fire. The first
God.
episode was too boring to hook me.
Who the
Sorry.
hell? Who are you? Okay, I talked about having a WrestleMania watch party. Before we do that, we're having a fucking Firefly watch party. So
Okay.
all right, so to at least not make you feel like utter and complete garbage, I
Thanks.
did not see Firefly first. I actually watched the movie Serenity first.
Oh,
So
that's kind of
so
fun.
I got this awesome action sci-fi film that made me care about Firefly.
Huh.
So Firefly, fantastic setting. It's wonderful. If you haven't seen it, then go watch it and then watch it again. Firefly is actually one of the very, very few TV shows I have watched through multiple times and still will.
I mean, I do firmly believe that Firefly is expansive and unique enough where it could have an intriguing RPG.
It actually does. There is a
Ah,
Firefly role playing game, oddly enough.
good.
And
There should be.
I knew this one existed. Maybe someday I'll get around to buying it and running it because I feel I know enough about Firefly. I could run that setting because
Okay.
it's just an old west setting with spaceships.
Ah,
They
Cowboy
don't even
Bebop.
they don't even use laser guns. Like they have,
Really?
yeah, it's all just black powder. It's fucking black
Huh.
powder weapons. Their
Huh.
their spaceships are very sort of janky.
Space
Eh,
Cowboys.
yeah, that's what it is. It's space cowboys.
Okay.
So the next one is X Files. I'm actually checking. I'm checking to see if there is one. I think there is. Uh, No,
Oh,
I
there
don't
is.
believe. Okay, apparently there's not an X Files
Oh,
role playing game. Yep, there
huh.
doesn't seem to be.
I could have
Yeah,
sworn
well,
that
we
there
talked about it
was.
a couple of weeks ago with the one Delta Green,
Delta
which is an
Green,
X
yeah.
Files clone. That I actually would like to try that one at some point. But
Yeah, and they're making a Magnus Archives RPG.
yeah, I ended up not
Uh,
kickstartering that one, unfortunately. But
ah,
I
hmm,
had already there's too many damn Kickstarters that came out. I was in on at the time.
understood.
Yeah, that would have been like another $150 or whatever for an RPG that I love would never get to run. And
Yeah.
that's the kicker right there. I never get to run any of these things.
Too many games and not enough time.
Yep. Next in the list is Aliens. Aliens. There is definitely an RPG for this one. I'm very glad it exists.
It absolutely needs to. That's
So,
peak science fiction.
yeah. So back in the 90s, when I was still a kid, I was like 15, 16 years old. And we actually used to get together and just run role playing games willy nilly whenever we felt like. And one of us actually had come up with rules for an aliens role playing game, and we played it often. Uh,
Nice.
yeah, and we were space marines. It was this, it was a simple sort of hack and slash survival thing. When you're a bunch of 16-year-old kids, you're just making shit up. But yeah, we
Homebrew in the 90s.
yes. Oh, we homebrewed everything back then. But yeah, Aliens it's a great setting. I'm glad there is an RPG for it. At some point, I'll probably pick it up and try to run it.
Yeah.
So Back to the Future, and I don't mean Back to the Future. I mean like Back to the Future as an RPG because
Oh,
that's
like Huey Lewis and the News.
yeah because that's the next one on our list. Great setting. How do you do an RPG of this one? You're not really going to have
Mm,
combat per se. Maybe a little
Most
fisticuffs.
most of us do it in our day-to-day lives because most of Back to the Future is just Earth.
Yeah, it's just sort of living. I mean, you could because okay, the Back to the Future setting at least is it's just dealing with Marty going back the couple of times. But
Great Scott.
what if you had Doc Brown accidentally send you far into the future or far into the past, and you have to figure out how to get home? Then
Yeah.
it becomes a whole other
But
ordeal.
yeah, but then how do you deal with that as a party of
Well, the
players?
DM would obviously haven't figured out how you would go about doing that. There would have to be rules for it. You would need
Hmm.
if you got stranded back there without some genius scientist, you're probably just fucked.
Oh, you're hosed.
Yep, yep. Flash Gordon. I wonder how many people that listen
Um,
to us have ever even heard of Flash Gordon.
there is a one shot for fifth edition called Out of Time.
Oh no, there's actually a Flash Gordon role playing game.
No, I was talking about Back to the Future.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. It's
That's kind
called
of
Out of Time
interesting. I might have to.
by
Oh
vorpalchainsword.com.
yeah, okay, yeah. I remember seeing that.
Five character sheets of Marty, Bill S. Preston Esquire,
Wait, what?
Ashley J.
I'm sorry.
Williams, Mark,
Did
the
did we
Terminator, the
did we
Doctor.
cross over? Did
Yes, they. It's okay. Back to the Future RPG Out of Time is a one-shot 5e D&D adventure that features all our favorite time travelers from the 80s
oh my god!
banding together to save the time stream from being
I,
destroyed for all eternity by the moronic Tannen family.
dibs
And
on Ted Theodore Logan.
oh Lord, that's dumb.
I love it. I have to look into this.
I'll send you
Yeah,
a
send me a
link
link to that
to
one for
it.
sure. All right. Let's
Uh,
hurry up and get through the rest of this list. It's taking a little longer than I
oh,
wanted,
you're
but
good.
so
Ah,
next up is Flash Gordon. Flash Gordon actually does have its It
oh,
does have its own RPG set in the Savage Worlds setting. I know
okay,
of the Savage World setting, and a lot of people rave about it. So and
okay. I've heard the only way you can play this RPG is if you've got Queen music playing.
I'm down. I mean, I would
Yeah.
expect nothing less. If you're not playing Queen, I'm not playing fucking Flash Gordon.
Absolutely.
Then they've got Stargate, the role playing game.
Okay.
Uh, I'm
Okay.
seeing if it's
Hope you're brushed up on your Egyptian
yeah, it
mythology.
is a real role playing game. It does exist. There was a Kickstarter for it.
Oh, heck yeah.
Yeah, I love the Stargate movie. I've watched it, a
Yeah,
bunch of times. Never cared for the show. Never
indeed.
watched it. So I know that might be
Same. I've Amanda's gonna hate me for that too, but I've never watched Stargate the TV show. She loves it.
yeah. Yeah, yeah. I mean, that I know it's blasphemy to some friends of mine because I
Yeah,
have other friends who just love Stargate, greatest thing ever.
yeah.
But yeah, not for me.
Ooh, I like the
The
next one.
next one, yeah, Planet of the Apes. That's an easy one to turn into an RPG. I don't
Oh
think there
yes.
is an actual system. Yeah, there doesn't seem to be a real one though. But you could literally just take D&D and run that.
Get your
Like you don't
hands off me, you damn dirty
damn
apes!
dirty ape. Thanks, Charlton Heston.
I mean, you could do that so many ways. Do you want to play as a party of apes? Do you want to play as a party of humans?
No, you make them both
Ah,
options because
yeah,
there were apes that were helping the humans in those films and vice versa.
yeah.
So then we have Battlestar Galactica,
Eh,
and they show the picture of the TV show as
I
the more modern TV show.
I prefer the '70s.
I don't like either of them
Mm,
particularly, but if I had to watch either of them, it's the 70s.
yeah,
Battlestar Galactica to me just pissed me off to no end. And I may
really.
have talked about it on here. I've definitely talked to a lot of people about it. I watched so when Battlestar Galactica got rebooted in the 2000s,
Yeah.
they did a two-part miniseries, and that two-part miniseries was freaking awesome. You know,
Okay.
it's like 2 hours, each episode about 2 hours long or so. We watched it on TV, and it was full of drama and intrigue and battle. They actually had lots of battle near the end of it. Like when the Galactica opens up and starts firing off on the fucking Cylons.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I lost my shit, dude. I was like, that's amazing. I can't wait to watch this actual show. And then I watched the actual show, the entire first season. I don't remember 20 episodes or
Yeah.
whatever it was, and literally nothing happened.
Boring drama.
It was just a boring ass drama with no battle, no combat, no anything. And after the first season, I'm like, I'm done. I'm tapping out. I'm not sitting through more seasons of this shit.
Yeah. At least in the '70s when the Cylons looked awesome.
Yeah, they did bring them back apparently in
Okay.
the newer at some point. Yeah, that was another thing that pissed me off is that Cylons just look like humans.
Yeah,
All
that's
right,
stupid. Cylons have this freaking cool red eye that does the Knight Rider thing.
whoa, whoa,
Yeah.
whoa, whoa.
Yes.
Yeah, that's what I
Yes.
wanted. That is what I wanted, and that is not what I got. So screw Battlestar Galactica.
Yeah, I'm
Uh,
okay with that.
yeah, there is no RPG from it as far as I'm aware. I didn't look, so maybe since we're specifically looking at that,
I
let's at
did a
least see if it exists.
Battlestar Galactica.
There's a review there. Yep, no, it is a thing. It does
Oh,
exist.
really? Huh.
Yep,
I play a
yep. From
Cylon.
yeah, from 2007.
2007.
Well, you're just okay. So you're gonna play a Cylon, so you're a human.
Yeah.
Got it. Cool.
No, I'm a Cylon.
Yeah, yeah, human. So the next one on the list is Doctor Who.
There is
This
an
one would,
RPG of this.
yeah, I knew there was.
Yeah.
Uh, this one,
I don't know how the hell it would work.
I kind of want to play this. I would not be able to run it because I am not as deep into the lore of how things work
That's
as
fine. I'll
some
run it
people
for
I
you.
know. Yeah, I wasn't going to say any names, but I would like to see how it works, just to see. Do you play the doctor? Does one person play the doctor and everybody else plays sidekicks?
Yeah, I
What do you
don't
do?
know. Yeah, I don't know how that would work because the
Are
doctor
you
is
all
just
doctors from different points in time?
doctor,
Doctor,
doctor.
doctor. Doctor. Yeah.
That worked better
It's
last week.
I think
I,
it could be an interesting game though. There's not going to be any combat really,
I
but
mean, I guess the
you get into
DM
crazy. Yeah,
DM could be the doctor, and the player characters could be all of his little human
minions.
companions.
Yep.
Yeah, maybe. I don't
Sorry,
know.
sidekicks. I think that's what they're called, sidekicks.
Companion.
All right. So we're in the top four now. That's
Uh,
yeah. Doctor Who's number 5 on the list. Let's bitch about this next one first.
I don't like the
Well,
order
okay.
these are in.
I'm going to bitch about these next two at the same time, so we'll just
Yeah.
cover them at the same time. And neither of these really need a role playing game. I don't feel that that's necessary. As far as settings go, they're pretty cool. But
Yeah.
number four is the Twilight Zone, and number 3 is the Outer Limits. And when we were looking through this list and we saw that, I feel that's just a goddamn travesty. Because
Yeah.
who is going to rate the Outer Limits higher than Twilight Zone?
I there's not many people nowadays who even think about the outer limits.
Yeah. Yeah, my brother watches it, but he also watches all the Twilight Zone episodes. Yeah,
I I
he loves
I
old
love them
TV
both.
shows.
Yeah, I mean, to me, they're both
They're great, yeah.
really intriguing, twisted tales.
But people still talk
But
about the Twilight Zone. Nobody talks about the
yeah,
Outer Limits.
Twilight Zone, it had more sticking power, and it had William Shatner.
It did. It did. Multiple
Yeah,
times. He played in 2 episodes.
yeah,
So,
yes.
anyway, we're going to skip those two. They don't really need a RPG. These next two actually
No,
have RPGs, and we're going to bitch about this real quick too, because this
I don't like the order these are in.
I don't either. There's an argument to at least be made here. Yeah, and I'm not going
Yeah,
to try to make it, but I'm with you. I don't like the order. So number
I
two,
mean, and to be fair, these two are distinctly different enough that it's hard enough to say, well, one's better than the other
yeah, they
because they're different.
they have their own fan bases who have hated each other forever, and then there's people like me who is like, I love both of them. And
Yeah, why not
if
both?
people can't figure out what we're talking about by now, we're talking about Star Wars and Star Trek. But they have Star
Really, I
Wars.
thought we were talking about Spaceballs and Blazing Saddles.
Well, it could be, but no, they have Star Wars listed at number 2 and Star Trek at number 1. I think Star Wars is way more prominent than Star Trek.
I think so too.
Yeah, like Star Trek is
We're not saying popular. We're just saying
prominent.
prominent.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, both of these have their own role playing systems, and they've had multiple role playing systems over the years.
Mm-hmm.
I know that Fantasy Flight did Star Wars for a while. I'm not sure if I don't know who
Yeah.
has it now, and
I'm not sure.
and the Star Trek when maybe 2 months ago, I was in a store and I actually saw the core rules book, and I almost walked out of there with
It's
it.
so Star Wars is still Fantasy Flight. It looks like.
Okay. And let's see, Star Trek. Let's find out who makes that one because Modifius. Okay,
Oh,
yep,
okay.
yeah, they've been making stuff forever. Yeah, they
Yeah.
make Cthulhu, Forbidden Lands, John Carter of Mars, Mork Borg.
Oh wow,
Just
John Carter.
yeah, they've got tons.
Mork, 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 Mork,
They
Borg.
even make Fallout. So and
Oh wow.
and
Oh, that's a good
yeah,
setting.
and the Alien one we were talking about. So just tons and tons of stuff through Modifius.
Nice.
So I'm sure it's a good system. I would absolutely play in either of these, but I don't want to run. I could probably run Star Trek, honestly, because
You did a fantastic job when you were running the Star Wars game.
oh sure, yeah.
You did a fantastic job, dude.
I know. I felt like we were having a good time and it felt fun. But Star
Yeah.
Wars is one of those things. Exactly what I was talking about with Lord of the Rings fans, and I know at least at our table we don't have any people like that. But you're going to find
I
that
mean,
one super fan who's read every one of the Timothy Zahn novels and like, that's not right.
I've got an Empire Strikes Back accurate Vader costume. Does that count?
Yeah, but you're not going to be one of those guys who tries to correct me,
Yeah.
because I call some part on the Millennium Falcon the wrong thing.
Yes. There's not a lightsaber in the box.
Yep. Star Trek's the same way. There are fans
Yeah.
absolutely like that, but at least I could absolutely run Star Trek with our player group. because I probably know more about Star Trek than anybody in our play group besides maybe your wife. So
I think Trekkies are more rabid than Star Wars fans.
they are. They definitely are.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, and with as many shows as are out there too, because
Yeah.
Star Wars, you've got the movies, and then you've got the Disney shows, but there's not a hell of a lot of them. But Star Trek, you had
Yeah.
multiple seasons of the
It's older
original one.
too.
Yeah, you had the Next Generation. You've had God, I don't even know how many movies at this point. So maybe,
Next
yeah,
generation. Number one, I command you to
Newton,
do a
number
number
two.
two.
Thank you, Beavis and
Aye,
Butthead.
aye, Captain.
Aye, Captain.
Aye, aye, Captain.
So, all right. Well, I think I'm done with these stupid lists for this week. This, if I can't come up with good topics, you're getting stupid list.
For all
Yep.
eternity.
Which I don't mind doing because I like talking about stupid things.
Is there a Beavis and Butthead TTRPG?
No way. No freaking way. I'm gonna look right now, but I seriously doubt that.
No,
No,
no, there's
nope,
not.
there isn't, and there should not be.
No, there absolutely should be. Or maybe a King of the Hill role playing game.
Yeah, yeah, probably.
Damn it,
Damn
Bobby.
it, Bobby. That's my purse. I don't know you. I remember like the first time I heard that was last year.
Oh,
I had
wow.
never heard anything about that, and I think it was our friend Drew who introduced me who
Probably.
introduced me to that, and I was like, "What are you talking about?" And then he sent me a link to it, and now I can't stop. It's one of the funniest things that
That's my purse. I don't know
yeah,
you.
like
Pocket sand.
yeah, but I never watched King of the Hill. It was not funny to me for the most part, other than
But it made some
but
memes.
it made great memes. Other than Boomhauer, Boomhauer was always funny to me. Like Boomhauer rapping, the internet loves Boomhauer, but internet
Yes.
Boomhauer rapping is
dang,
just amazing.
dang grumpy dungeon masters, man. Get on there and do a dang podcast, man. Dang DM dungeon dice and shit, man.
Woo lightning. On that note, we're out of here. Dangle, dangle, Craig, dangle, ban.